watching Eyit TV. Thank you.
Good evening, viewers. You are welcome to this program, Health and Lifestyle at Eyit TV, an online TV for all of us, and it offers this program for the benefit of our good health, and that's why we call it Health and Lifestyle. This evening, we are going to share information about this and our health. So these are not teeth in particular, but we call it oral health behaviors and oral health lifestyle. I will take you through two main challenges or problems, health problems that we suffer with our teeth and gums. Tooth decay is the commonest cause of oral discomfort and is followed by gum diseases. So I will separate the two and talk about them. But before I go any other further, I need to introduce myself to you. I'm Dr. Eyit, and this is my dental care here in Mbarara City. I will take you to the normal structure of a tooth so that we can understand what can go wrong. A tooth has three layers, and these layers, there is the outermost, the middle, and the innermost. The outermost is a very hard layer called enamel. The middle one is dentin, and the innermost is the living part called the pulp tissue. So when we are to get problems, they start from the outermost layer, which we call enamel. The commonest cause I have told you of oral discomfort is tooth decay. And tooth decay is caused mainly by three things. One is bacteria that resides in our mouth. Two is simple sugar, refined sugars. Sugar like that one in sweets, biscuits, cakes, and so on and so forth. And we call that one a substrate. The third main cause of tooth decay is the retentive site. If there is anything on your tooth structure that can obstruct cleanliness of your teeth, will be a factor that will promote its decay. The fourth factor, which is not normally considered as a factor but which is actually very important, is time. If you have sugar in your mouth, for how long it will remain there is an important factor to consider as far as tooth decay is concerned. So we have seen those four factors. I want to tell you how they cause tooth decay. One, the sugar we eat in food, once it remains in the mouth, it will be eaten up by the bacteria that resides in our mouth. The commonest bacteria in our mouth are collectively called acidogenic bacteria. We call it acidogenic bacteria because when it eats sugar, it makes acid out of it. And this acid is an organic acid, but simple acid. So when this acid gets a retentive site, an area on your tooth that obstructs cleaning, that can allow the acid to stagnate, it will keep clogging the enamel structure, which is a very hard structure. So the more time that it keeps on that site, the more it will affect the enamel, and then a hole begins to develop in your tooth. So once the hole develops in your tooth, it will now enter into the second layer, which we call dentin. Dentin being the middle layer, it has some microscopic nerves. When the hole reaches there, you start feeling sensitivity. When you take something cold, you feel it. When you take something sweet, you feel it. So this is a very serious warning when you get such responses as you take anything in your mouth. That's when you should really see a dentist. Now, time. How much time is another important factor, because the more time you give the germs or the bacteria to eat the sugar, the more acid they will form. The more acid that forms, the more destruction that occurs on the tooth structure. So that's how tooth decay occurs. And now that we know how the tooth decay occurs, we need to work out a very good plan on how to prevent tooth decay. So to prevent tooth decay, we must break down this system I have explained that causes tooth decay, where we have the bacteria, we have the simple sugars, we have a site on your tooth that is maybe rough or retains the results from sugar and bacteria, which is acid. And what do we do? First, we must brush our teeth after meals. So prevention is better than cure. If we know how to prevent tooth decay, we will be good to go. So brush after every meal. Now when I say brush after every meal, I mean brush after breakfast, brush after supper, and if you can, brush after lunchtime. What do you use to brush? Use a very good toothbrush. A good toothbrush is the one with soft bristles. A good toothbrush is the one whose bristles are still straight. Once you see bristles bending, then your toothbrush is no longer good. After getting a toothbrush, you must also have a toothpaste. A good toothpaste is the one that has fluoride and calcium in it, but fluoride should be in a range, should not be more than 0.03, in a range of 0.003 to 0.06 is a normal range. If it goes beyond that, it is too much fluoride. That one should be only prescribed by dentists. But look for a toothpaste from the shelves of any supermarket. Check where there is fluoride. Check where there is calcium. That is a good toothpaste for you. Choose any toothpaste of your best flavor as long as it has those minerals. Why should it have those minerals? 1. Enamel is a structure that is made up of minerals, and it repairs. So as it loses minerals, we need a continuous supply of minerals that can repair it. So there is a dynamism of loss and gain of minerals. So the loss of minerals from the teeth structure go into the saliva, but also minerals are gained from saliva into the tooth structure if the conditions are favorable. I will tell you when the conditions are favorable. The conditions are favorable when the pH of the mouth is not below 5. And the pH of the mouth can be lowered by acid. And I told you that the acid comes from the food that remains in our mouth. So there is an additional factor why we brush, to remove food from our mouth, to prevent formation of the acid, because that acid upsets the pH of the mouth. And once the pH of the mouth is below 5, it means only minerals are leaving the teeth into the saliva. There is no longer movement from saliva into the teeth, and therefore the holes are forming without repair. Now, the second function of fluoride. Fluoride, once is used, it is taken up also by the germs that stay in our mouth. Once the germs in the mouth take up fluoride, it actually goes and blocks its biochemical channels. Its systems in the body is blocked, and most of them will die. Since we have known that the bacteria break down food to form acid which destroys our teeth, the more we reduce the population of the germs in the mouth, the better is the condition for our teeth. So fluoride also kills germs in our mouth, reducing them to an acceptable number, which we can live with. Since we have seen you can use a brush, you can use toothpaste, what else can we do to prevent tooth decay? Since we have seen that foods which are rich of simple sugars are the main source of acid that forms in our mouths to destroy our teeth, why can't we reduce the intake of such foods, which I mentioned at the beginning, like chocolate, cakes, biscuits, sweets? We can replace those ones with other sweet things, which we call complex sugars. Complex sugars are the sugar that we find in the foodstuffs and processed. They can be in cassava, they can be in pineapple, they can be in mangoes, they can be in oranges. The range is very wide. It takes 24 hours for the germs we have in the mouth to form the first drop of acid from complex sugars like those ones in sugar canes, like those ones in the mangoes. And by the time 24 hours elapse, at least saliva will have washed away the remnants of such a sugar from the mouth, and therefore when you eat complex sugars, there is a very minimal risk of developing tooth decay. So when you want sweet things, replace them with complex sugars. Don't go for the ice cream. Buy a sugar cane, buy a pineapple, buy a pawpaw. You will still get the sugar and the sweetness you want, and you will remain healthy, because a healthy mouth is a healthy body. Retentive sites. I said for once the acid forms, it must be kept on a particular tooth surface for it to cause a tooth decay. So there are dirty deposits on our teeth, which we must always get rid of them. And those are called caliculas, others call it plaque. But once plaque develops much and much, it hardens much more, and it is called caliculas. So you must remove caliculas or dental plaque so that the teeth surfaces are smooth and they don't hide any forming acid, they don't hide any sugar substrates that remain in the mouth after meal. So teeth cleaning, professional cleaning by the dentists is also necessary once your teeth are found to be containing external deposits. I told you time is a factor. If you eat a simple sugar, I said in 1 hour the acid will be forming. So once you finish eating, rush as quickly as possible. If you give it an hour, the acid will begin to form. So the more time you give sugar substrates an opportunity to interact with the germs in the mouth, the more risks of acid forming and causing tooth decay. So it means there are those other factors that can be silent in your mouth and promote tooth decay, which you don't know. It is very necessary for you to visit your dentist at least twice a year. Visit your dentist twice a year to check your teeth and your gums. If anything is found to promote tooth decay, then the dentist will correct it and you will enjoy a good oral health. I also told you the most risky foods are those containing simple sugars, and they are handy. So avoid eating in between meals, because when you check, the cakes, the sweets are normally eaten at awkward times, and those awkward times we never get a chance to brush. So discipline yourself, don't eat in between meals. If you want to eat sugars, like in biscuits, in chocolate, once in a while buy them, take them home, say this is my breakfast, eat, finish and brush. You will be good. So with those, of course, there are other personal factors. I told you a tooth has 3 structures: enamel, dentin and pulp. The strength of the enamel of one individual is not the same strength of enamel of another individual. When you visit your dentist, you will understand that you have a weak enamel, or you have you have weak teeth, and will give you more advice. While others will be found with strong teeth, they will also be given equivalent advice that they need. So all that is what I can say about causes of tooth decay, and then how to prevent tooth decay. But at the beginning I told you there is another oral problem which we call the gum disease. The gum diseases are many. We professionally classify them, but generally we call them gum diseases, and I will talk about them in general. Gum diseases are those diseases that make the gum weak, and the gum is one of the supporting structures of the teeth we have in the mouth. So if the gum gets diseased, it means the teeth will remain unsupported. So some people lose teeth not because they have holes, but because they have lost attachment. The two main supports of the teeth in the mouth is the gum and the bone. And the gum, the health of the gum determines the strength of the bone. Wherever the gum is diseased and retracts, the bone also resorbs. And in the long run, you find teeth are not supported. And that's what we call gum diseases. The commonest cause of weakening of the gums are the deposits that people develop in between the teeth and the gum. The gum goes beyond the root of the tooth and attaches on the tooth surface, but remains with a pocket. So between the tooth structure and the margin of the gum, there is a pocket which is normally about 2 to 3 millimeters. So when we eat food, some food gets packed into that pocket and we fail to see it. So that's why we still tell you on how you should best brush your teeth to make sure such a hidden food remnants in gum pockets are removed. So once the food hides in the gum pockets, the germs will also find it there. When they find it there, the food will also get minerals in saliva and crevice fluid or the body fluid from the gum tissues. And those ones will make the food harden, which we call precipitation, and that will now attach stronger on the tooth surface. So in some individuals, you will see black deposits appearing from the gum and they are attached on the teeth surface, and those are very, very bad for the health of our gums. So when they are still soft, we call it dental plug. When they harden, we call it caliculus. In between those deposit layers, there are millions of germs. Millions of germs, they will produce products which will weaken the gum, and the gum becomes very flabby. It is no longer firm, and then it is no longer holding the teeth onto their positions very well. Sometimes also there will be infection. You will see pus from the gum in some individuals. So the gum diseases, they start slowly and they can develop gradually, and they are very hard to control once they are very established. It is good to prevent them as early as possible. The best way to prevent gum diseases is to do proper brushing. What I have told you, the dental plug and how it forms, you must make sure the food remnants don't remain in the gum pockets, and that's, you have to do vertical brushing. When you are brushing, start from the gum, move away from the gum, and make sure all the food is not packed backward, but it is pushed forward away from the gum pocket, and then you improve the health of the gums. Also, you can supplement toothbrushing with mouthwashes. Mouthwashes, if you don't have commercial ones, you can use little salt in warm water. Little salt in warm water, like 3 times a week, is very good for your gums. Don't use it every day. So that one, it cleanses all the food particles that remain in the gum pockets, and in the long run, you prevent gum disease. So still you need to visit your dentist every 6 months. If such a deposits are found in your gum pockets, they are cleaned off, and you are given a more advice on how to brush well, and they don't accumulate such a deposit or dental plug anymore. Then the health of your teeth, the health of your gums is improved. By and large, the good oral health behaviors translate into good general health, and lifestyle is all I have to say. It has something to do with what we eat. So a good lifestyle should be a lifestyle of good feeding, good nutrition, And good nutrition means good oral health and good general health. Yeah, because of your good viewership, I need to leave you with some good tips to maintain your good oral health. One is to have a fibrous food or a fibrous snack after a main course. So after eating, get a fruit, maybe a pineapple, eat it. Such a foods, they are fibrous in nature. When you are eating them, they dislodge the remnants of the other soft foods from the teeth, and so they promote your cleanness even before you brush. And on that, important, if you eat a pineapple after a meal, don't rush to brush before 10-minute setups. It has some acid. Then when you are eating such a foods with acids, they weaken the bonds of the minerals, but this weakening is transient, doesn't last for long. So if you give it 10 minutes, the bonds are strong again, then you brush without loss of minerals. But the fibrous foods after a main course, they are good for our health of our teeth. Another tip is about how to supplement the brushing of your teeth. When you brush your teeth, the toothbrush may not negotiate in between the teeth. We have what we call a dental floss. Get a dental floss from your nearest supermarket. They are readily available in the supermarkets and pharmacies. Then we have waxed dental flosses and non-waxed. Waxed dental floss is best because it is lubricated. You hold it on your fingers. If it doesn't have a holder brush, then you pass it in between your teeth, stretch and move it out from the in between the teeth. It will come out with some food remnants that could not be removed by a brush. So a dental floss is a very good adjunct of keeping your teeth clean. The last tip is for parents. Most parents don't know when to start brushing teeth of their babies. Brush the teeth of your babies as soon as the first tooth appears in the mouth. They are very soft toothbrushes that you can start with, and then you brush after every feeding, in that you keep the teeth of the infants as healthy as possible from the first time they appear in the mouth. And make sure you teach your infants to brush as soon as they learn how to hold for themselves, and that is, they will now know to keep their own good health even without the parents. Thank you for your viewership. Thank you for watching Eyit TV. Have a good evening.